show is sponsored by Ross, the small business engine. Starting or growing a business is definitely a team sport, and we want to be on your team. In our playbook, we take you from vision to action. Conceptual consulting is our trademark service where we fully assess your idea and how to strengthen it. The competition is always moving, and you want your brand to have clarity and purpose. Connect with the Small Business Engine for a partner who puts your goals first. Call 407-504-7677 or visit us at www.orielross.com. That's ORIEL Ross.com.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Great. Happy Sunday.
Wonderful. Thank God.
Yes, ma'am. So welcome. You are listening to the Many Hands podcast, and we're your Many Hands crew. We are talking about keeping your eyes on the prize today. So welcome, everybody. I'm really excited. We have a special guest today, Liz M. I'm going to start with introducing our team and bring it home. So who do we have with us? Who's the normal crew? Okay, to my right, catching between motivational platforms, supporting clients into physical and mental wellness and closing culture gaps, Mr. Rio Winfrey. Catch him at bookrio.com. What's up, Ree?
What's going on, everybody? God bless everybody. It's a beautiful Sunday. As always, very excited. Excited to have Liz on this morning. Let's get to it.
Okay. And making the world a little smaller by connecting powerhouse companies and superior brands, creating opportunities and funneling in the dollars, Mr. Antoine Watts. Catch him at pipinjury.com. What's up, Twan?
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm a little excited today. Special guest. So, hey, let's talk.
All right. At the corner of cultural diversity and leadership and making a sharp right on Investment Ave while bringing a few young soldiers with him, B. McKinney, McKinneybrands.com. Hey.
Blessings on blessings, people. What's happening? Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. I'm happy to be here, and let's talk. Let's get into it.
All right. And creating strategies, analyzing data, speaking on business development is me, O. You can catch me at thesmallbizengine.com. Find out more about us, the show, our guests, upcoming topics. We love your suggestions. Continue to give us feedback. A lot of your questions get right into the show, and you can catch us at manyhandspodcast.com. You can catch us as a collective or individually. We're happy to connect with you. So, like I said, we have a very special guest with us today. Super excited. And when we talk about entrepreneurship, there's so many things. And, this is a platform for business and social consciousness. And we stick to that. And it's very meaningful to us. Sometimes, when there's so much going on in the world and we're very, focused and we're about our business and we're growing and we're connecting and we're investing and all of that is meaningful. But we also, when we're able to reach back and help, when we're able to spread the word, when we're able to do more than our outward message and we're able to change lives, that's when it really matters. So when we have someone on the show that is aligned with our beliefs, it makes it even sweeter. And I want to thank you, Liz, for showing up. And now let me introduce her. And everybody, please send your questions in. Hit us on the contact form on manyhandspodcast.com. So Liz M. Elizabeth is a successful entrepreneur and government contractor with a unique story of perseverance in the face of adversity. A graduate of NYU and former financial analyst, in 2007, she was diagnosed with severe diabetes and nearly died from complications. After this experience, she eventually decided to start a healthcare business to help people better manage their diabetes. After selling a patent for a telemedicine system, she decided to take a break, travel, and figure out what's the next venture to invest in. She now owns several small businesses, including a government contracting business and a real estate consulting firm. Additionally, Elizabeth is a seed investor for several tech startups and is passionate about helping Black entrepreneurs succeed in their endeavors through gaining access to capital and clients who actually pay on time. Okay? Keep phrasing. Keep phrasing.
That last line right there is everything.
Keep phrasing.
I love it. I love that.
You picking up what I'm putting down. Okay. All right, Liz, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, that's not a problem. I love you so much, Oriel, and I love what you do. And you're we've known each other for over 30 years now,
Yes. Like
which is crazy.
the
Yeah,
decades are adding up. That's a problem.
I know. No, it's good. We're
Nope.
blessed.
We
But
work every
yeah,
day to keep adding. Every day.
exactly. So yeah, I mean, and Oriel, you and your husband and your family, I mean, what you're building and what you're doing is so important. And so I'm happy to be here. I'm, trying to help as many people as I can, especially our people to get into business and succeed. That's
Yeah.
really what it boils down to.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit. Thank you so much for being, so complimentary. Like I said, I really appreciate you. And we go back. We have high school stories, guys. High school stories.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We'll share one at the end. I'll share one at the end. She doesn't.
Before,
But she doesn't.
I can't wait to hear that one.
Doesn't. Oh, you'll love it. She doesn't. She won't admit to it, but I can tell you it is true. But go ahead.
Listen. Wow. Okay. So, because you know what's coming. But so tell us. So, one of the areas that you really shine on is capital, assessing the need for it, finding it. I want you to talk to us a little bit about that and why there's such a disconnect in access to capital and minority communities.
Okay, there's several reasons. Obviously, it's not just it's several reasons. One, obviously, systemic racism, because when you are a minority and you are starting out your business, you typically don't have a lot of money, so you either have to find loans or you have to find like investors. And unfortunately, the way this society is set up, let's just talk about America right now. The people with the capital, the most access to capital, are not Black, and they will definitely not be looking to either lend you money or invest in you unless you are like you really have to jump through leaps and bounds. That's number one. Okay. But you can get around that too. I also think that a lot of people of color, minorities, Black people, we just don't really know how many resources are out there, because like when you go to school, when you go to high school, you can go to the best private schools, the best colleges. They really don't teach you how to start your own business and to gain access and capital to grow and scale and things like that. Like that's really not taught, even in business school. And I didn't go to business school, but I do know people that have gone to business school, and they just really they're not taught those things. So the true entrepreneurs that are successful and know how to gain access to capital and grow really had to just like put the boots to the ground and do the research themselves, and by trial and error had to figure it out on their own. So yeah.
So I mean, I think you're spot on. It's really knowledge-based lack of, and also it has to be willingness on both sides. I know sometimes, B and I, we've had conversations, economic, conversations, whether it's broad scale on reform or individually, like, hey, this is a good financial planning method. And a lot of times it's met with pushback. So I think that people need to be open to receiving that information as well. And I think that's part of the disconnect too, is there's a level of trust in other communities where the expectation is somebody will help, somebody will give you good information, and you in turn will take the torch and carry it forward. So it's a matter of principle and practice that we really have to change in the community, and these kind of conversations really help. So, Liz, you're in you touch several different industries. I know there's real estate, there's construction, there's blockchain. Could you go into I guess a little bit more on the education of those industries, why that was a fit for you? What should an entrepreneur be thinking of when they're looking for a fit?
Okay, so I'm of the mindset that when you are ready to start your business, you really need to go with some with a business that you actually have some type of passion for. You know, you don't have to be like super passionate about it, but you have to have enough interest that, you know, you're spending a few hours a day doing research just because, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, so when you talk about like blockchain, right? So blockchain is basically the way of the future. That is exactly the way that it's sort of like the internet 2.0, how things, money, everything will be managed, everything from healthcare to money to shipping, logistics, and things like that. That's going to be the way of the future. So, and you know, I work with different corporations and things like that, and they're investing the most money in blockchain right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the other kind of questions, the other questions that you were asking.
Yeah. Okay. We'll circle
Real
back
quick,
to that
I'm sorry.
later. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. So, Liz, you mentioned blockchain, and I have to be very honest. I wasn't familiar with the term previous to kind of looking at your profile and looking what it is. So, for those that do not understand what blockchain technology is, can you give like an overview of what that exactly entails?
Yeah, so blockchain is basically just it's a different type of technology that manages how information is processed, and it's okay. Let me see how I can explain it in a better way. It's a way that you can manage information better and more secure in a more secure way. So yeah.
Okay.
And it's harder to hack when you're in, when you have blockchain. Every single business should have some type of blockchain technology, and they will, you know, eventually. So a good thing that I tell people to do is, if they want to invest in the stock market, invest in blockchain technology companies that are backed by large corporations, and most large corporations are backing blockchain majorly right now. So yeah,
it's that security then, that security of information, because I imagine all companies want to protect and make sure everything's secure. So that's awesome.
Yeah, this is such a hacker lifestyle right now. You know, people are not, and you have to be very proactive in protecting your business. So
absolutely. Yeah, there's been a lot of security breaches, and I've actually had to deal with some security breaches in my own companies as well since the pandemic. You know, there are a lot of scammers out there that are just really trying to get information. They're phishing, and they're doing, I would say, semi-sophisticated type of scams at this point. But, you know, there are a lot of companies, tech companies like myself, that we're catching them.
Nice.
That's good. That's a great thing.
Absolutely.
So you were saying, like, one of the things I was saying, your different industries, you touch real estate, you touch construction, you touch technology and fintech. So we touched a little bit about blockchain, but if you can touch on your other industries that you touch as well. And you know what, I'm dissecting because sometimes I like to look for a common thread, and that helps people to jigsaw it together to see this is I'm the next Liz M because I can. So how did you piece together those industries, and how are you the focal point touching those industries?
Okay, so basically, so you know, your introduction to me was pretty good. Like I pretty much laid a foundation to how I got a start into becoming a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, if you will. So once I sold my patent for the telemedicine, the telemedicine company, I really wanted to. I didn't want, you know, in my 30s, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to retire and do nothing for the rest of my life. So I'm trying to figure out how or whatever to do next. So I was always really interested in real estate, in construction. So I'm a landlord, and I bought a few properties. I flipped a few properties. I still have a couple that I'm a landlord in. I'm kind of trying to get out of the landlord situation right now, because it's just kind of not secure right now, because a lot of people are working from home, and a lot of people are not doing, or it's really not a good time to be a landlord right now, to be quite honest. But I do like the construction area, and I'm a government contractor, as I told Oriel before. So one of the reasons why I don't really like to appear on camera and give a lot of information about myself is because I have security clearance. I'm a government contractor. I have contracts with the government. And so basically, as a government contractor, one of the things that I love about doing construction and, real estate and things like that for them is that they pay on time. Like,
there we go.
Yeah, they pay on time. When they say they're going to pay on time. And that's really what it's all about. And we have to be practical as business people.
Mm-hmm.
We have to identify immediately which clients that are going to pay on time, because if not, your company can go under really quickly. So I'm all about being liquid. I'm all about cash and stuff like that. But I've always loved real estate, and I've always loved renovations, home renovations, and
that liquidity,
commercial renovations and things.
Yeah.
The liquidity is the number one. It's number one.
People underestimate working capital. It's not even funny. So I'm so happy that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I'm ecstatic.
So remember Oriel and I have been talking about this is one of the things that I really want to express on your podcast, is that this is one of the best times in history for Black people to start businesses. There are so many grants. And when I say grants, I mean only grants, not loans. Not loans now. Like these PPP loans and everything like that. Don't fall for it, okay? Because number one, a lot of PPP loans are not going to people of color. They're going to large corporations that are owned not by people of color, and they're getting audited as well. So you think you can get that free money, but in a couple of years you can get audited and you can get really bad. Like you can actually get yourself in a situation where you end up having to pay back more. And they are auditing. Trust me, they're auditing now as we speak. I have a lot of friends that work for the IRS, not friends actually, but like associates. And they are now looking into a lot of false claims from PPPs and PPP loan recipients. I never advocate loans for small business people, especially Black people. Get the grants. The grants are all there. So Oriel and I were talking, and I am putting together a list with the help of my assistant, who's my cousin as well. Like, I'm trying to keep all the money in the family.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that.
We talk about recycling dollars.
That's right. Family and friends. So yeah, she's putting together a list for me of all the grants that are available right now for Black-owned businesses. And it's amazing. We can get so much money right now. This is the best time right now for Black people to start businesses. There's so much money available. There's literally like billions of dollars available. Billions, not millions, billions.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. We have Brian and I have different partners, and it's funny, like right now they'll put Black owned first, whereas they may have not put that before when we fill out different profiles. B, I think you wanted to jump in there.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in. So to Liz, to your point about blockchain and about, I just wanted to talk about investing, and I actually found a way to support a Black-owned business through investment, right? So I agree. I think I love real estate. I think there's always a good time to be in real estate. And kind of my school of thought as it pertains to business and investing is, I always want to make money when the market's up, when it's down, and when it's going sideways, right? So you have to be able to pivot and move when you need to. And there's a lot of the problems that we have as a community is we don't have access to get into companies early, in those early seed rounds when there's VCs that are getting in. We get in later in the game, and there's still opportunity to make money, but not as much, right? So there's a platform called startengine.com. And I've invested in a company called Popcom. It's a Black-owned business, and they are doing a lot, and blockchain is part of the platform. And so I wanted to just get your thoughts on investing. Like, have you, you're an entrepreneur, but do you also invest as well?
Yeah, I do. One of the things that I've been doing for the past few years is I'm a seed investor for several companies. They're tech companies, tech-based companies. Some are blockchain, some are not. A big thing now that I'm investing in is mobile money. And mobile money, including Bitcoin. And it's the way of the future. And definitely investing in small businesses. You have to check. You have to vet them well, though. You have to vet their team. You have to really kind of get to know them on a personal level and see what their work ethic is like, and it's not even about just like the business plan. It's about like how they move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you can have someone that graduated from an Ivy university and has all the credentials, but they're just lazy.
Yeah, it's funny.
And
I had I'm sorry to jump in. I had a partner, and Brian laughs all the time, and because I've had hard lessons on who I'd work with and who I would never work with again. And while she looked good on paper, she was downright embarrassing to put your name next to. Like, yeah, like you're sitting there like, for real.
No.
You're like, like you come to the meeting, like, and I'm prepared. I'm like, portfolio, I look good. I'm like, let's go, let's sign. And she would say something so off the wall or so incredibly disrespectful. And it was to the point I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm going to use the restroom. I'll be back. Like, I can't come back in here. I can't come back in here and sit next to you. And like, you're tarnishing my name. Like it was terrible. And it really was a rude awakening because, a lot of successful businesses, they're not successful without the team. So you were spot on, when, as everybody like to delve out lessons and really highlight the nuggets that you touch on. And you said you need a team. And a lot of these successful businesses, they're not built singularly. They're built with a team.
Mm-hmm.
And then to recap what B said with Start Engine, everybody, we talked about this resource before, but do check out Start Engine because there are a lot of, it really is a good place to farm for.
Can you email that to me, please?
Absolutely.
All right,
B just had an investor call with them last week, and it was great because now you're touching on, now the investors are getting to talk to each other and getting to network. And what it is, like I said, startengine.com, we'll send that out to everybody, but you're getting in on a very early level. You're able to, and some of the people that are on there, like you have like the only Black woman who has ever raised $1 million in capital. Like, when we're looking at Dawn Dixon, we're looking at having a seat at the table. But when, now, B's on the phone with, somebody like Dawn Dixon, and you're getting that knowledge and, you're seeing what it took to get there. It's a powerful move. And then you're able to also invest sometimes on a smaller scale, become part of the process. And then, just like with any investment, you take those dollars and you reinvest until you get to the next plateau.
Absolutely. You totally get it.
Yeah. So that's a really good thing. Tuan, get in there.
Yeah. So, Liz, you spoke to the point of grants for these businesses starting up. But what are some other ways, if there are any, but what are some other ways if you have no funds to kind of start your business and kind of get your journey started as a business owner?
It really depends on the industry that you're in, but like you can literally start a business with like $500, like, you know, just literally, like, I know $500 can be a lot to some, but I mean, to be quite honest, $500 isn't a lot. If you have the will, you can save up $500 and start your business. The first step is to register your business, get it in an LLC, which is like what, $225 or something. I even forgot. I don't even know. I
very
don't handle that
Less
stuff
than that.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's number one. And because you want to take the personal liability away from yourself, just in case anything happens. You know, you don't want to have any liens on your own personal properties or things like that. You know. So and as far as getting funds, like this is what I did. Okay, I basically just went ham on grants. Like I just was like in 20, I want to say 2015, something like that. I applied to every single grant that I could for my company, and I got a bunch of them. You know, like I just got a bunch of them. I just would Google grant small business. I wasn't even like focusing on Black-owned businesses, like grants small businesses, and I got a bunch of them, and it helped me. You know, and like a lot of them didn't even require much. They required like a sample business plan, like a really like basic business plan. But I also had a passion, and I knew what I was doing. Like I knew what I wanted to do. But one of the things that I want to tell like Black-owned businesses that are like starting out, don't go for loans. Don't go for loans. Go for grants. You don't pay them back. You have to pay the loans back. You know what I mean?
A lot of times
So
in the grant,
there's so many grants. There's so many, especially right now. And like one of the things that Oriel and I were talking about is, again, I have to bring it up again. I don't want to sound redundant, but there are so many grants available right now for small Black-owned businesses that it's ridiculous. And I'm putting together a list, and all of you guys will get that list, and you can apply for those grants. At the end of the month, by July 31st, I should have like maybe 15 to 20, and just apply to all of those, and that, you know what grant money is? Free money.
So, I apologize for interrupting, but that's kind of what I wanted you, and I'm glad you went there, because I think a lot of people look at grants as they're just not accessible, and I was just glad that you kind of put out there. I mean, look, it's what's the worst thing that can happen? You don't get it, but apply for everything. Right. So I'm really glad you made that point.
Exactly.
But a lot of times we're not, you have to follow the directions in any application, right? So no matter whether it's an accolade you're going for, whatever it is, grant application, follow directions. A lot of people don't, because it's an easy way to weed out who you don't need, because you may only have, a handful that you can provide. So if you get, tenfold the applications, those people who did not follow the directions, they trash out. Right. So follow the directions, see what's out there. And then something else that I wanted to tie into what you're saying, because you were saying protect yourself with the LLC, and look at the kind of business that you're forming and see the right form for you, because it could be, S corp, it could be whatever. So check your state guidelines, check federal guidelines and the type of business that you're in. Also, there's some businesses when you're going out there and you're connecting, with other partners, for whatever the reason, it could be commercial landlord, anything like that, they may request a personal guarantee. So think long and hard, because if your LLC or your governing body business that you registered is protecting you, but then, you're providing personal guarantees outside of that, it takes away some of that protection, right? And also maneuver. So, we have the benefit of being a married couple, right? So Brian and I, so in that way, it's more like, okay, what goes in your name, what goes in my name? So you do check. So, okay, well, I'll just, sharp right, over here, we're good. You have to be able to protect yourself. You have to be able to jockey in a legal manner, in a professional manner, and understand, what the ups and downs, there are ebbs and flows in business. You have to be able to respond, and, you have to be able to protect yourself. So great points. Great points.
Yeah. You're completely correct, Oriel. Like you're very fortunate because you have a husband and who you trust to have a partnership with. I don't have any partnerships with anyone, and that's just my personal decision right now, because to be quite honest, you really don't know, and unless you do like a really, really deep investigation on people's like past and personal finances and things like that, you really don't want to entangle your money with anyone that's not family.
Yeah,
you
very
really
smart.
don't.
Very smart.
Or like, people that you've known for like 30 years, even that,
Yeah. And sometimes the marital situation doesn't always work out like that, because we talk about it all the time. And I think, I want to say it was like the four of us, because I remember Twan and Rio laughing at me heavily. But marriage is a business. It's just as much a love affair as it is a business. And,
Absolutely.
when you sign that, you are legally bound to that person's success, the person's failures, their debt, their assets. So you have to look at it, with some common sense. People, they shy away from talking about the business aspect of a marital partnership, but, they go into it blindly, and you end up smacked upside the head, for lack of a better term, because when it hits you like a ton of bricks, you know what I mean? Or it's just, you're going through life in this nebulous, love state, and then you forget the business aspect of it. And certainly right, because you could be in love and maybe not be good business partners, and you have to know that going forward, and you just don't operate that way. Or you do operate that way, and you're able to reap the benefits of it. But it has to be a very personalized decision, and a very knowledgeable decision. You have to do your own research and see where you are and understand the dynamics of the relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah, we always have to go into business with our eyes wide open, whether it be with our family members or not. But like I'm in the belief that family and close friends are probably the best people if you want to do a partnership. I don't have a partnership, but I'm not married, so who knows what's going to happen. But if I do get married, I'm probably going to keep all of my assets separate from my husband at this point, unless we
have a saying around here. We have a saying: family will get you first. So be careful. It's not always. That's a B. McKinney saying.
That's a B. McKinney saying.
He's like, hold up.
Because family will get held accountable like more than a regular person. Trust me, if your family does you wrong in business, you will get held accountable. And I don't really ascribe to that at all. But you have to know which family members you have to deal with, because we all have bums in our families. A lot of us have bums in our families. So yeah.
No. And you and I, Elizabeth, we're first generation Americans, and I think that plays a role in how we perceive family and business, from an immigrant mentality. It comes differently in how business is done. Me from the Caribbean, Elizabeth's originally from Africa. You have to, business is done differently, and family is seen differently. So some of it's cultural as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So Liz, I had a question. I was really intrigued with the government contracting part of it. So how would somebody get involved with government contracting?
Okay, so I'll tell you how I got in a start. So I went on a website called Fedbid, FEDBID.com. And it's very easy. Now they're called something else. Hold on, let me just check. Fedbid is not, Uniscom. Hold on. Fedbid.com.
Don't mind me. I'm just writing all this down. This is great info.
So we had Fedbid. Fedbid.com,
Yeah, go to Fedbid.com and they'll reroute you. It's called like Unison.com now.
Okay.
So that was like the easiest way to do it. So before you become a government contractor, you have to go through a registration process. You have to go through SAM.gov. Okay. So you have to register your business. Your business has to be an LLC. It can also be a sole proprietorship. I believe I started off as a sole proprietorship. So once you get that done, you have to get a DUNS number. Once you get that done, the whole process takes like about a month. It's not like a big process. You have to, just register your business on SAM and on, I think you have to do DNB, Dun and Bradstreet first.
Right.
So once you get registered as a government contractor, right? The first thing that I did is I went on fedbid.com because you can bid very easily. It's like so easy. Like it's sort of like I call it an eBay for government contractors.
I like that.
Yeah, I do like that.
And I used to be on there all night long, man. I was like on there all night long. I would be bidding for everything, anything and everything. And yeah, so like I started getting a lot of government contracts from there. And you can do that too. I mean, that's the easiest way. I think that's the easiest entry point. Okay. And then once you get one or two government contracts and you're like in there, like it'll be so much easier. And then after that, you can get on what is called a GSA schedule, which are the larger contracts. These are contracts from like 500,000 to 30 to 40 million plus, and way above that a year. So, but you have to start slow.
Right.
But I would, if I were you, I would do what I did. I registered my business. I got on fedbid.com. It's called like Uniscom right now, Unicom or whatever. If you go to fedbid.com, it'll direct you to their new site. Okay. But you have to get SAM registered. It's about a 1 month process, maybe a little bit more because of the pandemic right now. But they're really responsive, and like you can like do virtual chats with them. Like it's not that hard. Awesome. So once you do that, I don't know what you want to do. You need to figure it out. Like if you want to do like sourcing, wholesale. You're into fitness, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Fitness is my life, Liz. I eat, sleep, and breathe fitness.
Me too. Yeah. So, and the good thing about FedBid now is that they're actually doing like, and I know, listen, I talked about like Black-owned businesses not being into like loans and stuff, but what FedBid is doing now is they are, if you like, okay, so like if you get a government contract for, whatever service or whatever for, $100,000 and you can't front that money, and the government takes like maybe 30 to, depending on your program contact. Some are really good. Some will pay you in like 15 to 30 days, but some will take like 90 days. And I know a lot of small businesses like my own, like I couldn't put up the money, but now FedBid is like offering like, I want to say loans, but they're really not. They're just basically like fronting you cash for that. Okay. Yeah. So they're fronting you the cash for it. You have to meet some requirements, but they're not even really like looking for like major stuff. So I would start with that, and and I would say just go really hard. Like, just go when you register for SAM, register for not just like one. Okay, so there are two different numbers that you have to register for. It's NAICS, I believe, and SIC. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So register for as many as you can.
Got it. Okay.
And just go online on FedBid and just go crazy. Like that's what I did. I went crazy. I was like, I was on there online. I was bidding online all day, all night. I was
See,
big
this is the kind of information here that we always we tell people, when people are giving it to you, take it. And
Take
then
it.
write things down step by step. Just go, because there's a lot of information. And look, all four, well, our thought, we call ourselves thought partners, right? So what we do is we give people information, because at the end of the day, we really just want to help a lot of people, especially family. Because I'd rather, if I help you, then in that way, and you grow your business, then I don't have to help you financially from my own business.
Yeah, but Twan is very big on
family not being in partnerships. We rather get you your own so we can keep moving in other directions.
Right.
But that's it. Like, you're giving some great jewels right now, and this is something that the people are listening.
You gotta rewatch this many times, because I'm dropping some jewels here.
Hey, absolutely. Say it for the people in the back.
Liz putting you up on game, folks.
Yeah, one thing you touched on was that D&B number, Dun and Bradstreet number, how important it is to establish business credit. So you can't take that lightly. So that was something else. We had fedbid.com, startengine.com, fam.gov, your DUNS number, your NAICS, your SIC numbers. Did I miss anything, fellas?
Nope.
I think you hit it, but
you got it. Yeah, you got it all. Go ahead.
What I want to say is, listen, guys, for those that are listening, there's a lot of game being spoken on this podcast, on this episode. But what I'm taking away from this is, for those people who want to start a business, but they're sitting there and they're going, I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do. Listen, you can do this if you have a computer and you have the internet. The information is out there. You just have to go look for it, and be smart and start small, and then grow yourself. Don't think you have to start out of the box. People didn't come out of the box at $1 million business. You have to start small and grow.
Right. And you also have OROS, Small Biz Engine. Just want to throw that out there.
I'm here for you.
I didn't even know about that. You have a small business engine?
That has been my moniker for, gosh, maybe like 15 years, and then it continued to grow. And so that's how I help people establish and how I grow entrepreneurs. And it's where I help, farm businesses and keep them going. So that's, people have always called me O or O Ross, and it just kept going from there. I like to get inside, keep the business running. So that's where my true heart is. We have a lot of ventures and investments, but my heart always returns to O Ross. So that's kind of a piece of me.
Yeah, we need to figure out how we can do some kind of partnership, because I invest in I do seed investments in small business companies, particularly tech, but I'm like open now.
Yeah.
So like we'll talk about that offline.
Absolutely. That sounds great. That's really exciting. So we dropped a lot of jewels. We had a lot of good conversation. Liz, thank you for balancing the testosterone on these calls, on these shows. I'm like, sometimes it's overwhelming, Sometimes I gotta, knuck if you buck. I gotta get strong out there. But I love everybody, so I appreciate it. So I remember our high school days. That was just incredible. I remember I went to college in North Jersey. Elizabeth, downtown New York City, right? NYU. And I remember coming to see you, and how much
and I came to see you too.
Listen. I don't even want to talk about it.
No, talk about it.
No. You have to pay for that information. So, what do you wish you knew then that you know now?
To be quite honest, I probably think I should have bought my first property when I was in college.
Hello.
Yeah. So,
boom.
And I always say, I don't have any children right now. Hopefully God will bless me with at least one. And if I do have one, I will make them start a business at 12. At 12 years old, they will have a business, and their credit scores will be up at 18. And I mean, they'll have enough, money to have, I've already set it up for, they probably won't even really need to struggle like that. But I do think it's important for children to start businesses, and also for young Black people here in this country. If you have credit, like I could have bought a house when I was like 18 or 19 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there are ways to buy a house.
Yeah.
You know, and I should have bought it, you know, but I didn't, you know, because whatever, you know. Who's looking to buy a house at 18 or 19? But a lot of white people do. They trust me, a lot of white people they're not just gifting their children homes. They're like, you know, they're like setting them up for, they are co-signing them on loans for like condominiums and things like that. So that's one thing that I wish I would have learned. You know, but you know, my parents are immigrants, so like they were just like, you need to get your degree. You need to get your degree. Get your degree. Get your degree.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
that's all they were thinking about.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but that's what I would think. And also, like, I think also the best thing for people in college, like people, like Black people, is to find your mates, because the most successful marriages that I know between Black people in this country have been through people that they met in college. Now, granted, I mean, the marriage rates aren't that great in this country, but the people that have really like built, they met their mates in college, whether they married in college or after college, whatever, you know. But yeah. So, and then also just like, you know, don't party too much, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't. I know you didn't
focused.
either.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I probably
Just stay
should have.
focused.
I probably should have, but that's my regret. I should have gone the other way. I was born old. It's like I was too old, too serious, too fast. And, you know, I'm like, hey, loosen up a little bit. Enjoy
we come
life.
from the immigrant culture. Get your degree.
Oh, listen. I laughed so
degree.
hard when you said that I had to put the phone on mute, because like my parents are like, go read your book.
Exactly.
Wait, take me come here for, you know?
Exactly. Why did we come here? We came here. We left our families for you.
Yeah, we
read
fight.
your book, get your degree.
Yes. High school.
As
yeah.
Rio, B, and myself look at each other like,
That's hard.
Yeah,
maybe we had
we partied enough with it. We're good.
No. My parents used to
struggle.
do like sneak visits on campus, and I had a first floor, no joke, a first floor room. So they would never use like, you know, the main entrance and the intercom like a normal guest. So they would just knock on my window, like, which meant they had to go into the bush. So they went into the bushes.
That's right.
Knock on my window.
And I will be the same.
Right. And then as soon as you open the door, there's the glass door, and their face is like right there pushed up against it. And it's like 7:00 in the morning, which means that you had to get up at 5, be intentional to get out there in time. So what were you trying to catch me doing? Like, you have no idea. Like, West Indian parents, African parents, they're not about that life.
Not about it at all.
No. You gonna waste my money? Let's talk about that. Yeah. And there's not too much conversation either. There's skull cracking. But but you know, hey.
But look how you turned out, though. You know what I mean?
You go.
Like,
yeah. Again, I should have partied a little bit. I see my son. He's so intense. He's sexy. He's so intense, and I'm just like, man, look what I passed on to my dude.
No, he'll be fine. He's got 2 great parents. He'll be fine.
I'm like, relax. I'm like, party a little bit. He's like, for what? I'm like, dance it out. Shake his. He's like, now? I'm like, yeah. He's like, how you like my moves? Like,
we're working on that.
He's a young boss already.
Already, my God.
You have to be, and you know, I really try to impart a lot of wisdom to young Black, like I mentor a few young Black women that are in high school and that are in college, and I tell them, listen, like, you can have fun, you can, you know, do what you need to do, but keep your eye on the prize. Like, the prize is having financial security and not even financial security. Like, you don't want to survive. Like, you want to thrive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's very attainable right now, especially right now. Oh my God, there's so many. So I'm gonna drop Oriel the grant links, and so you guys can have it, you know, and share it with who you feel deserve for it to be shared to, because that's also another thing, you know. Like, I think we need to be very selective of the type of people that we share this information to, because not everyone is going to be for what we're trying to do.
So true.
There are a lot of users out there. There are a lot of people that are trying to use people for information and things like that. So, you know, and I really trust the McKinneys, and so that's why, like, I agreed to do this podcast. Like, I'm really trying to get people paid.
Right.
You know,
I'm telling you, Liz is underground.
like, I'm on the ground, honey. I'm in my bunker, honey. I am good.
We
Yeah,
appreciate you trying to get people
Absolutely.
paid too.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. And not everybody deserves that, you know, because there's
Absolutely.
a lot of, like, people that are, like, I don't know. There's a lot of, like, people that are not trying to be good or kind, or there are a lot of things that are going on in this world that made me really made me, like, take a double take, you know.
Right.
But I have a really strong small circle, and hopefully you all can be a part of it now. Definitely the McKinneys are, you know, and you know, so yeah, so, like, you know, it's all about getting those resources, and not loans, grants first.
Yeah. Take advantage of this time, everybody. We're in a unique time. You
Oh
don't
my
know,
God.
you know, what it's going to look like, you know, we're really in a month by month, you know, because you don't know what it's going to look like. You don't know where we are in the pandemic of racism or coronavirus. So you have to think about the forward motion. And there's so much more that we have to touch on. You know, there's global markets, there's you know, different levels of connectivity. So there's so much that you can touch on to grow your business. And it all starts with a knowledge base. If anybody has any final comments, you know, let me know. We usually end with a question. I don't tell the guys what question that I'm going to ask. So feel free to participate, or feel free to laugh at them like I do, or or make them cry. Now I love my brothers. So if we're ready for the final question, I'll get some nods.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
That's right.
All right. So you don't have to go deep, but right now we're talking about, you know, that push to get started. You know, the subject matter today is eyes on the prize, staying focused. How did you get your focus? So my question is, what painful experience, you don't have to dig into the weeds, but what painful experience helped you push to want more?
So I'll go ahead and start, because that one for me is very easy. My first professional job, sales job, it wasn't painful. It was more eye-opening. Finding out the amount of money I was generating versus the amount of money I was receiving. So I'm generating over $1 million in sales, and I'm making $50,000 a year. So what that did was that made me become more focused and intentional about, well, I can do the same thing that they're doing. I need to get myself in that position. It took me 12 years, but I got to that position, and it was beautiful. But that was really it. It was just more knowing of what I was generating, like, not with the help of the company, more of what I was going out on my own time and doing. And then that was bringing in money for them on my time and on my dime. So that was really it. It was just being more aware of the inner workings of the business and how I could actually benefit as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Know your money, know your worth.
There you go.
Right? Know your worth.
Always know your worth.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, you know, I think growing up, in the environment in the area that I grew up in, I always saw that there was more. Just by looking around, I tend to always be an observant person. So I just saw that there was more. I didn't necessarily know back then how I was going to get there or how I was going to get more. But through my development in life, I have started to see different ways to achieve goals and achieve those things. The combination of seeing more and I think people telling me that I couldn't do it are the two things that sort of drive me and push me. And then obviously having two small children that I look at every day and say, we have to not only leave something for them and leave a legacy for them, but also put them in positions to, Liz's earlier point, put them in positions to own a business, have some financial wealth and transfer wealth to them. So those are the things that have gotten me to that spot of wanting more.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Mine's pretty simple. I hate being told what to do. And I say that in this way. So at the end of the day, I mean, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're going to have customers. So to a degree, you're going to have that. So mine was two things. Now, I didn't like being told what to do, especially with previous employers that I felt that I knew a little bit more than they did, but yet they were up here and I'm still down here. So kind of what Tom was talking about earlier. So I always had a mindset that I wanted to do something. It was just figuring out that passion, which became fitness. And then what kind of set that over the edge. I had a cousin I was very close to that passed away at a young age due to cancer. So just seeing that and seeing how life is short, it's like the time is now. So that gave me that final push to want to do better and obviously, spread fitness, which is a gift to the world that everybody needs to take in and do, especially with the current state of the world now. So that's what drives me and keeps me going. Knowing my why at the end of the day.
There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty strong. For me, mine was very painful at the time. I want to say I was 17 or 18, right? And it gave me like a peek under the tent in terms of knowing people's character. I wasn't necessarily sheltered, but I never had an experience that, that rocked me to the core. Since then, as life goes on, you have several, right? But, that first taste of an experience that rocked me to the core was, I was in a relationship and that guy, I walked in on him with somebody else, full on, right? And from there, it was very hard to see. Like I fainted and everything. So it was very hard to see. When I woke up, people with bad breath were standing over me. I became, I was a freshman in college. I became it was like a laughing stock. You knew people were talking about you. You knew people didn't, they weren't there to help you to feel better, to bring you through that situation. My coursework suffered. I didn't have an environment where I can go, where I had a soft landing. So what I've learned in terms of my motherhood is always creating a space so that my kids have a soft landing, because we're pretty strict, but I needed a soft landing. And that drove me to create a harder shell. That drove me to stay focused. That drove me to say, that's not going to hold me back, because I saw myself regressing on who I was as a person. Like I literally changed who I was. I became less open, So I had to say, well, listen, if I want this, nobody's going to help me get there. Nobody's going to help me study group. Nobody's going, you know what I mean? They would have literally watched me fail or, fail personally, fail in life, fail who I was. And it was okay. It was laughable. Once I saw, that essence of who, not everybody, of course, but who people are. And that finding somebody there was one person who sat with me in the cafeteria, one person. And for that one person, I would always be grateful to him because that was somebody and I needed somebody. So it showed me to be somebody for somebody else, to keep your eyes on your goals, to take away distractions, to hold your heart so that, to protect your heart so that it's healthy enough to loan it to somebody else. So that was my experience in terms of becoming who I am today in business.
So real quick, B, was O on our phone call the other day? I feel like she just spoke to what you and I talked about the other day, you know, but she got me, you know, this is not what I expected that right now. Oh, you know, you got me in my emotions right now. I need to see that dude, by the way.
I know.
Yeah, I need to
Kick
see
his
that dude.
ass.
Hey, Liz. Liz, remember when I visited you in NYU 30 odd years ago, whatever?
That person, I remember.
Yeah, that joker. And you were like, first of all, you pulled up and like, who is this? Right?
Yes,
right.
I did. I was like, he is not worthy, honey.
Yeah, no, he's trash. But
it's okay. Like, you know, listen, we live and we learn, we experience. But that hurts me to say that it hurt you like that, because I always thought you were like super strong and like we're like, you know, whatever.
You didn't know, you know, young love. It's like you know, like they say, I'd rather get my ass beat than get my heart broken. It's like that's crazy, right?
Yeah,
it changes who you are.
But it's okay. Like
he's totally worked out for the best.
Yeah, of course.
I agree.
Yes.
I have to agree with that.
Yes, D. Hello, you know what you have. I always told Oriel, listen, if I was a different way, I would marry her.
Okay.
Hey, my boo.
She is okay. She is the best. But yeah, so yeah, so like I'm all about like tangibles and getting things done and getting the message out. So, but I want to keep things like real tight in the circle. So I'm going to send Oriel by the end of the month the grants that Black people and specifically women, but some other grants or whatever that are good to go. You can apply to. I have contacts. I can be a reference to people if you need it. If you need it, I can be a reference.
Thank you.
And yeah. So, but I want to keep it like real tight and real close. And yeah, so like let's get this money. The money's there, honey.
Let's get that paper.
The 2020 money is there, honey.
Liz, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. We went over. I should have put that as a caveat because not the first time we went over. Sometimes our conversation is so enriching that we do go over. Thank you for spending some time with us today. Yes. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your pearls, your nuggets with our audience. Thank you so much. So looking forward to getting this out so that, again, we like to feed our ecosystem and make sure that life continues in business. There's so much out there to get, guys. Make sure that you are a part of the conversation. And let's rock. I appreciate all of you guys, and we are